Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. In this video, we will learn about the difference between quantitative studies and qualitative or theoretical studies in quantitative and qualitative research. They differ in several aspects, including the following points: the purpose of the study. The purpose of the study in qualitative research is to understand and interpret certain points or phenomena that exist, whereas in quantitative studies, quantitative, the main goal is to test the hypothesis and also to understand the reasons behind this hypothesis or to make some predictions. There is another difference in terms of the size of the study. Usually, qualitative studies are smaller in size. The number of participants is often limited to 20 or 30 at most, whereas in quantitative studies, the number is always larger. The sample is also selected randomly. There are a number of variables associated with quantitative studies, also known as variables. However, in qualitative studies, the main variable is essentially the entire sample. Regarding the specific type of information utilized, naturally, in qualitative research studies, descriptive words can be used, visual images can be used, and even some various other forms of non-numerical data, tangible items. However, in quantitative studies, data is dealt with in the form of numbers. As for how information is collected, usually in qualitative studies, information is gathered through what are known as open-ended questions. It can also be done by observing participants, conducting interviews with them, or taking notes. All of these are methods that can be used in qualitative studies. But in quantitative studies, since certain things must be measured and measurements must be obtained, and after obtaining the measurements, these measurements are also analyzed. It is necessary to conduct statistical tests in qualitative studies, whereas in theoretical studies, the goal is to identify certain topics or themes, headings that pertain to this subject. As for objectivity, quantitative studies are considered more objective because they rely on numbers. However, theoretical studies are considered subjective because they tend to focus more on psychological factors. Of course, there are some biases that may be more present in theoretical studies, whereas the factors of bias are less prevalent in quantitative studies because certain methods can be used to reduce this bias. Of course, results can be generalized in quantitative studies if the sample is taken to be representative or comprehensive of the population. As for theoretical studies, the sample cannot be generalized because usually a simplified sample is taken to extract information from it. In most cases, theoretical studies are used to explore certain theories or to develop existing ones. So their purpose is often to serve as the initial or starting point for conducting research in quantitative studies. Usually these studies are used to confirm certain theories, producing confirmatory results, and often serve to reinforce existing theories. Of course, usually, quantitative studies are conducted, and their purpose is sometimes to make predictions, whereas in theoretical studies, the main focus is on the complexities of human behavior, social behaviors, intricate emotions, group dynamics, and the underlying factors that drive a person in a particular situation. All of these elements rely heavily on theoretical studies. Of course, the purpose of quantitative studies is to accurately predict, explain, or describe phenomena, while in the realm of theoretical studies, the goal is to deeply understand the why behind these actions. In theoretical studies, the aim is usually to explore or understand certain phenomena. Of course, the focus of theoretical studies is usually broad and covers a wide range, whereas quantitative studies focus on a specific point to verify it. Typically, theoretical studies are conducted in the natural environment and do not require a specific setting to carry out such studies. However, in quantitative studies, procedures are carried out in a specific controlled setting, of course. Usually, in most theoretical academic studies, detailed research reports are typically written and documented. And there are some types of research, as you will see later in the dedicated instructional videos, such as detailed phenomenological studies and specific examples of grounded actions, like the study of various methods. Case report, case study. However, in quantitative studies, special studies are conducted, such as cohort studies, cross-sectionals, and clinical trials. All of these are specific to quantitative studies, and it is possible to combine both approaches in what is known as a mixed method study. These are the most important differences between qualitative studies and quantitative studies. Thank you.